Welcome to Open Access. I'm Mary O'Driscoll. Today our guest is Commissioner Bernard McNamee, who joined the Commission in December 2018. He previously served at the Department of Energy and was a lawyer in private practice. Welcome to the podcast, Commissioner.
Thanks, Mary. It's great to be here.
Okay, well, you've been here at FERC for about 10 months now. So what would you say is your favorite part of the job of being commissioner?
There's so many aspects of this job that I really enjoy. I love the complex issues that I get to work on and really digging into the issues. It's been great to work with so many of the wonderful staff here at FERC. And one of the things I enjoy the most is the opportunity to meet with people from the community and to learn from them. It's just amazing how many smart, interesting people there are out there that really can provide their information and help us make better decisions.
What are you most proud of having accomplished at the Commission since you arrived?
Well, there's really, I think, three things come to mind. First, LNG exports. After 2 years in which no new LNG export facilities were approved by the Commission, in 7 months we've been able to approve 7 export facilities. And I think this is a great accomplishment. Not only will it unleash tens of billions of dollars in direct investment, create thousands of jobs, and provide hundreds of full-time jobs for workers, it's also providing options for our friends and allies around the world. But something that I think is really important about this, it also demonstrated that as a commission that we can come together and get things done. When we focus on the law and the facts, we can find common ground and we can come to a resolution and move America's energy policy forward.
Okay.
But there's also more. The commission issued an order on energy storage, Order 841. I wasn't here at the commission at the time, but there was a rehearing, and I was able to comment on that, and I provided a partial concurrence and dissent. And this dealt with energy storage issues, which I think are very important to the country. And they will provide an opportunity for us to be able to use renewable resources better, to store that energy and use it when it's needed. But as the Commission, we're limited in our authority, and in my opinion, the Commission exceeded its authority by trying to reach into the distribution system that's really regulated by the states. And so I issued a concurrence and a dissent basically saying that though I support energy storage on the transmission system and the wholesale markets, I don't think that the Commission should use its authority to reach into the distribution system. Another thing that I was proud of is what we've been able to do in proposing reforms for PURPA. So back in the September 2019 open meeting of the Commission, we proposed a NOPR, Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, to possibly change our regulations dealing with PURPA. And I'm hopeful that with these regulations, we're going to be able to continue to encourage renewable resources to continue to be developed, but also protecting customers to make sure that they get the benefits of low cost and efficient resources.
What do you see as the future of energy, and what is FERC's role in that?
Well, I think the United States as a whole has a bright energy future. I think that, especially with American ingenuity, if you think about the fact that we used to be in an energy crisis where we were energy dependent around the world, we now are entering a world in which we're energy independent. And that's because of the ingenuity of Americans like, Tex and George Mitchell, who combined hydraulic fracturing with directional drilling. And we've had this shale revolution. And, this has changed the way America has been able to consume energy, export energy. And, FERC's played a role in this. We are the entity that approves applications for natural gas infrastructure, whether it's pipelines or LNG export facilities. We also deal with the competition and oversight of the electric markets. And we're making sure that rates are just reasonable and not unduly discriminatory. So, I see our future, both America's and FERC's, as helping facilitate the functioning of the private sector, develop energy infrastructure, and providing the basis for energy markets to function properly for the benefit of consumers and businesses.
Okay. Well, how do you see that changing going forward?
Well, I think that, the United States in 2020 is predicted, according to the Energy Information Administration, for the first time in 70 years to be a net exporter of energy. And I think that's pretty remarkable. And, one of the things that has happened, as we talked about just a few moments ago, is the transformation on natural gas. It used to be you couldn't use natural gas for electric generation. In fact, Congress had prohibited it back in the 70s. But now we're seeing that it's being used for electric generation. And that's changed a lot of the ways that the markets are operating. It's also provided a variety of environmental benefits, such as a reduction in carbon emissions. But, the issues are broader than that. There's so much change going on. There's the growth of renewable resources that are changing our energy mix. There's the opportunities for battery storage that's going to change things. We're just looking at a whole lot of technological innovation, and it's really neat to be here at FERC to be able to be part of that, to help make sure that we provide markets that function properly, that don't pick winners and losers, and basically establish a level playing field so we can see all of our energy markets, whether they're the natural gas markets, whether it's the oil markets, or whether it's the electric markets, function properly and for the benefit of the American people.
Do you see any challenges to how those markets operate? And I guess maybe I'm thinking more in the electric market front.
Well, I think there are some legitimate concerns and frustrations about the details of the electric markets. There's a debate about the role of different resources, capacity markets, price formation, environmental goals, state energy policy goals, federal policy goals, market manipulation, and of course the overarching goal, which is ensuring that the system is reliable. These are all extremely complex issues, and there's people who have very important views that we need to hear and pay attention to on every side of the issue, because it's important that we make these reasoned decisions and that we balance the interests of so many different people who have insights about what's best, what is our authority, what is our legal authority, what's the best policy. And that's the thing I kind of enjoy most about this job, is being able to take all these things and try and listen and pay attention and try and make reasoned decisions about what it is we should do under our authorities.
Okay, well, now comes the fun part. A little known fact about you is that you're a fan of heavy metal and love Metallica. I really have to admit, I did not see that one coming. So how did you get interested in heavy metal and Metallica?
Well, I just like the music. I like the speed, the complexity, the intensity. I just enjoy it. And, I like banging my head every once in a while.
So do you have time for a little quiz about Metallica, or to just kind of see how much of a fan you really are?
Okay.
All right, so what is your favorite Metallica track?
It's hard to say. I love them all. But probably the top ones are Battery, Master of Puppets, Fight Fire with Fire, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and of course Fuel, because, I am an energy lawyer and I'm at FERC.
I guess I didn't see that one coming either. Okay, what is your favorite Metallica album?
Definitely Master of Puppets, but I really, really like Hardwired to Self-Destruct, which is their most recent album.
How many Metallica concerts have you been to?
Unfortunately, just one, but I have watched a bunch of concert videos online.
I'm going to try to go see one of them with any of their upcoming ones?
Well, I don't think they're going to be in the coming around Washington, D.C. anytime soon, but they do have a concert film coming out in theaters soon, so I'm hoping to go see that.
Okay. Finally, when did Metallica make it into the Rock Hall of Fame?
I think it's 2009.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Commissioner McNamee.
Thank you.
FERC is an independent regulatory agency that oversees the interstate transmission of electricity, natural gas, and oil, reviews proposals to build interstate natural gas pipelines and liquefied natural gas terminals, and oversees the licensing of non-federal hydropower projects. FERC protects the reliability of the high-voltage interstate transmission system through mandatory reliability standards, and it monitors interstate energy markets to ensure that everyone in those markets is playing by the rules. Unless otherwise noted, the views expressed in these podcasts are personal views and do not necessarily express the views of individual commissioners or the Commission as a whole. The podcast is a production of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission Office of External Affairs, Leonard Tao, Director. We'll be updating our posts when we've got news, so be sure to check out our website, www.ferc.gov, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to find out when our next podcast airs.